replacing Pat and how you guys grinded it out.
Yeah, I thought Reggie was great. Just like Pat, just being a professional and and staying ready. And he came in. I think he had 10 points in that third quarter, which was huge for us. Hats off to Reggie for that. I thought our bigs were phenomenal. I thought Serge and Zoo, were really good, especially on the night tonight when we couldn't make shots. We still had 26 assists, but we couldn't make shots. We had a lot of open shots that we didn't make. And I like how we just stayed with our defense, kept grinding, getting stops, and only having 10 turnovers a night as well. So on a night where you're not making shots, this was a good, tough, grind-out win for us.
In that fourth quarter there, Paul was on the bench for the last, I think, 4:31. Was that related to him being...
I benched him. No, I'm just messing around. No, he had some tightness going into the game tonight. So he got loose and he played, but he had some tightness going into the game. And then that last 4.5, 5 minutes, he just kind of he felt tight. He tightened up again. So we just got him out to be cautious.
Thank you.
Hey, Kawhi, you can go ahead.
Hey, Ty, congrats on the win. Couple of things real quick. Can you elaborate on the tightness that Paul was dealing with?
Just his hamstring.
Okay. And second, Kawhi was great tonight. Not tonight. I mean, sun's still out. But he was great today. And he was really great 2 weeks ago in a similar spot in a matinee game where the rest of the team was relatively uneven. But especially in that third quarter 2 weeks ago, it was Kawhi kind of carrying the team. Today, it was through different parts of the game. How are you observing Kawhi getting ready for these particular timed games? As now it's a 7-game win streak, and he's played really well on both ends of this win streak.
Well, he's been phenomenal for us, and tonight, we had to ride him, like you said. Outside of our two bigs with Zoo and Serge, Kawhi had it going, so we kind of we played through him a lot, especially in that second half. And he created points for himself, and he created points for our team as well. So we had to ride him pretty hard just to, just so we can continue to keep the lead and play through him a lot. So he did a good job with that.
I can see the headline now. Paul George benched during win streak. No, his hamstring tightened up. We all stopped breathing for a second. I appreciate the sense of humor, so we should add that to the board. Part of the streak, we have deeply discovered Ty Lue's sense of humor.
Look at the field.
What do you like here?
I love the 51% from the field. Three-point shooting is something that we've marveled at 44%, but points off turnover, that's been a huge key, because not only is it getting to the basket or easy layups, that attributes to that 44% from the three-point line.
You're telling me that the three-point shootings, is that what you're telling me?
It's like Santa Claus.
All right, so we see it a couple times a year. I'm pleased for that. All right, let's talk about points off turnover, because 16, we had 13 turnovers by OKC today, led to 16 points for the Clippers. How do you game plan around that activity? Because clearly they're making that happen.
Well, it's because of their defense. And with the Clippers, we've talked about mostly their three-point shooting, but their defense is starting to click. And that is allowing them to get out in transition to make easy plays. And now if your shot is not falling, when you get these points off turnovers, if it's a live ball turnover, if it's a person trying to attack the basket, which we've seen in the basically Fox vision, when a guy tried to stop the basketball, four teammates actually surround him, which got him out in transition to make plays. So it starts with the defense. When they start to put more pressure on their opponent, it allows them to get more points.
Easy as that. All right, we're going to go to break. We got some more stats to share with you as well. More,
I believe, but that's important. You want to have your second line of defense, so your second unit, come in and make plays to help your first unit.
All right, I want you to give a score, a grade on the defense today. I mean, specifically, we know that.
We got to see something. We got to see it.
Well, we will. I'll let you look at the paper before you give the score, Professor Maggette. Ty Lue came into this one. I was like, no way Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to school us again like he did on a Friday night. So I'm curious about the defensive adjustments, sir.
You have to adapt.
Okay.
And if we can look at this
Please give this man some
Let's
video.
Look at it. It was the video right away. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is trying to attack the paint. Serge Ibaka and as well as Patrick Beverley, they were waiting. But all of a sudden, Paul George got into it. They switched out. They tried to make another pass. Patrick Beverley gets back to the ball. They didn't want Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to score 30 again. Individual defense by Luke Kennard. You can see right there, Serge Ibaka is waiting. Paul George rotates on the low side with high hands to force Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to take a tough shot. And look at this play right here. Individual defense again by Zoo. But Patrick Beverley came in to help him out. You got to help your teammates. Individual defense again by Kawhi Leonard. Avisa is sitting there waiting, makes a nice play, gets a shot block. But this was great team defense. It was, you had individual defense, but they wanted to help the helper. And when you had your two bigs that were out on the island against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because he's so talented, they had their players in the right position. Patrick Beverley was in the right position. Paul George was in the right position. Kawhi Leonard. So overall, man, I just love that they understand how to have their rotations on the defensive end and help each other out.
Listening to Reggie Jackson postgame, I thought it was interesting because he talked about continuity, and he also said we want to be known as a defensive team. And I think we all talked about the Clippers in that kind of conversation coming into the season, but we've been distracted by the magnificent offense. So you think defense is really going to be more of the commitment, especially they're headed east for a 6-game roadie?
Well, if you look at their three better players from a defensive standpoint, Kawhi, PG, and Patrick Beverley, they're already committed to the defensive end. Now it's trying to get everyone else involved. And by bringing in the Serge Ibaka, now you have a line of defense that you would get more shot blocking. But you need to have players buy in. Nicholas Batum, a glue guy, came in. He's buying in. When you talk about continuity, it's about everyone putting their egos at the door and allowing them to work together for the betterment of this team.
Concerted effort to work the assist we saw from him, and we'll get to Reggie Jackson in a little bit. But two of Kawhi's assists in the third, they were threes to Reggie Jackson. So Kawhi sharing the magic as well.
Well, I love when he can pass the basketball, and he had the 8 assists tonight, but more importantly, he had 0 turnovers. Do you hear this? 0 turnovers. He's basically a point guard out there. And what Kawhi understands is that he continues to get his teammates involved. You need the entire team to be successful. So even though Kawhi got 34 points, Jeannie, he wanted to kind of implement more of his playmaking to his teammates, where Reggie did a phenomenal job in this game, coming in, being assertive. Is something that they needed.
Also saw Serge Ibaka again for a second game in a row where the Clippers really leaned on him early and said, let's find this on switch because we need you down and dirty in the paint.
Well, back-to-back games with 17 points, but back-to-back games 7 for 8 from the field. And for Serge Ibaka, he took advantage of the mismatch down low. He's shooting the mid-range, which is always good, but when you can get down low and make plays, get to the offensive glass, which we can see now from Serge Ibaka, being in attack mode, that's something that he needed to do. And the previous game before these back-to-back 17-point games, he was 1 for 9, I believe, from the field. So for Serge, he came back with a vengeance. He attacked. He did all the right things, and now he's rolling as they go on this road trip.
So 22 minutes today for Serge. And then we saw Ivica Zubac with 24 minutes as well, just trying to share the love that way. As he gets another double-double today, and you see that he's really committed to, I'm not in here necessarily to score. If it happens, great, but I'm ferocious on the glass.
Well, for Ivica to know your role as a player, and he's one of the other bigs, and if you look at this team in OKC, he had a size advantage. So he took advantage of that. And it's not just from the scoring standpoint. Ivica continues to run up and down the court to get those rebounds, offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds, and to be more efficient. If you look at his stat, 5 for 6 from the field. So that means that Ivica was definitely attacking the basket. He was patient, he got to the glass, and he kept that field goal percentage up.
You have fouls on your body? Is that what you're telling me?
It's like Santa Claus.
All right, so we see it a couple times a year. I'm pleased for that. All right, let's talk about points off turnover, because 16, we had 13 turnovers by OKC today, led to 16 points for the Clippers. How do you game plan around that activity? Because clearly they're making that happen.
Well, it's because of their defense. And with the Clippers, we've talked about mostly their three-point shooting, but their defense is starting to click, and that is allowing them to get out in transition to make easy plays. And now, if your shot is not falling, when you get these points off turnovers, if it's a live ball turnover, if it's a person trying to attack the basket, which we've seen in the basically Fox vision. When a guy tried to stop the basketball, four teammates actually surround him, which got him out in transition to make plays. So it starts with the defense. When they start to put more pressure on their opponent, it allows them to get more points.
Easy as that. All right, we're going to go to break. We got some more stats to share with you as well. More